All right, we're back with Joel. Joel, I want to start out with the press release last Thursday. So you closed your non-brokered private placement for 1.4 million, and I got to say congratulations. Obviously, tough market, tough time. So good to see that tranche close. So you closed the 1.4. Give us a little bit of feedback on what kind of runway that gives you.
Sure. We are pleased with the results overall, especially in these markets, like you mentioned. We got a follow-on investment from the Sprott flow-through fund. We also got in a MarkWest flow-through fund, which is great to have the institutional support alongside retail and high net worth. And with that money, it's really topping up our existing treasury. We do already have a few $1 million in the bank. And so this is going to position us for some work at this Jacobs Pond target area, which is our next focus on a Golden Rose project at some point in Q3. We're also going to do a little bit of work elsewhere on the property to build more of a regional exploration pipeline. And so we'll just kind of moderate our spending on that, which are not immediate value adds, but are useful long-term in order to focus the money we do have on certainly drilling and hopefully proving up this target here at Jacobs Pond area.
Perfect. And now on to today's big news. So you've released your 3D model of the IP survey for Jacobs Pond at the Golden Rose project. So can you summarize what it means and the significance of this Jacob Pond area?
Definitely. Yeah, I know this thing can be kind of technical, so people might see it and say, oh, well, It just looks like a lot of pretty colors. I mean, in a sense it is. You want the more colors and the stronger they are, the better your potential results are from an IP survey. What an IP survey does is it monitors magnetics below the ground to try and give you a sense before you go in and drill, which is very expensive and time consuming. You try and get a sense from above the ground, what's beneath the surface, what kind of size, what would give off what's called IP anomalies, or basically some sort of magnetic response. And so at Jacobs Pond, our IP survey provider went over a multiple kilometer stretch of land, and they're trying to figure out what's beneath the surface. Well, what's very promising so far is we got a whole bunch of anomalies. They look like a lot of pinks and oranges, so kind of very vibrant colors, and they indicate size and potential beneath the ground. We've got about a 4 kilometer stretch specifically around this area we call Jacobs Pond and a nearby area of Rose Gold. It's kind of continuous in different shapes and batches where it looks like there's these large anomalies beneath the surface, and they correspond to typically some sort of mineralization or some materials beneath the ground. Most interestingly, in this case, they could correspond to copper and other base metals beneath the surface. And if people might say, wow, that's great that it indicates that. Do you have any evidence there is actually copper base metals? Well, we also did additional exploration work, including a whole bunch of soil samples at the surface. And those were coming up with very high grades for copper and gold and silver. And so when you have these high grade metals at the surface that appear to have broken off from under the surface, and then underneath the surface, you have these very large, these IP anomalies, these large bodies that seem to carry some sort of magnetic response. It suggests there's something large beneath the surface. And so our job now is going to be going to prove that out through probably some trenching as well as certainly drilling.
Interesting. And timing on that for the trenching and the drilling?
We're going to be working towards that in the third quarter. We've already put in permits, so we're certainly moving in that direction. Permits for both trenching and drilling. Trenching would be just to give us one last step of a better shot at getting hits in our drill program, and so we can get a sense of what we're dealing with slightly beneath the surface, and then we go in and drill in Q3. So I mean that's fast approaching in the next couple of months. Like I said, permits are in. We're already starting to mobilize the team, and so that's certainly a source of excitement for us in Q3 as we look to develop this recently discovered area on the Golden Rose project.